Well, let's see. Good morning. It's 2 a.m. Alaska, 25th of October, 2025. This is really just kind of a rant, a riff, a ramble. There are a number of points to make, but really kind of what's the point? Again, still. I'm not sure at what point in the recent days in the last week, over a day or two or three, maybe, my mom, Karen, and we watched the movie Practical Magic again. And there's a scene where one of the characters, a sister, is seemingly possessed by a bad soul, an ex-boyfriend that in the movie was accidentally poisoned, died. They tried to practical magic a solution, which didn't go well. And so now this bad spirit has inhabited, in some way, embodied one of the sisters. And they set to do a ceremony to free that soul, to free the sister from that soul. And when we were watching it, I stopped the movie. At one point, there's the sister that's in the middle of the circle, and they're trying to depossess, to disembody the one spirit soul from the. I'm trying to choose my words carefully. And there's an expression on the actor's face, Nicole Kidman. And I think for me, it sums up something, not just for that scene, but something that is, again, what's the point? What's the point of a riff? What's the point of a rant? What's the point of sharing anything? What's the point of a ceremony? And what I stopped that movie for, and what I remember feeling resonating with the stories and experience and witness and participant and is what was portrayed by that actor for me was that tension of being of knowing who you are and having a relational certainty of what's your point. And if you're addicted to a past lover or to a chemical drug or to measure an idea of success and career or whatever, however addiction might might be understood, for one to know in a sense that you are surrounded by your peers, that they understand that you are who you are, and now you need to count on that. What's your point? And that confidence that someone has to have, in a sense, to make the decision themselves, that it isn't the responsibility of those in the circle, of those chanting or those giving money or those always providing housing or, how is this? Well, I know this, but we got to help them out. We got to look out for them. Yes, that's true. So how do we know to gather around and help someone who is clearly suffering from something they don't identify is themselves? And they are embodied, they are possessed by an emotion, an idea, a fear, uh, uh, whatever. In this instance, in the movie, it was the movie. It was the movie. It was a movie. It's a story. It's a movie. It's an actor. But how that scene is played, I appreciated that expression, just a facial expression in a split scene, but also that scene overall when, and I'm giving way too much. I mean, it's a great scene, but it's not like Oscar worthy. I'm not like trying to overplay it here. But when do we count on ourselves to know that we're strong enough to know who we are despite and in spite of all those mistakes we've made, or all the fears we've had, or all the vulnerabilities, or all the insecurities, and all the ways that we know that we've already disappointed people, that we've caused harm, that we've hurt, that we haven't disclosed as clearly as maybe we could have, or whatever those things are that we're holding on to and that we're just punishing ourselves for. Yeah, like, okay, yeah, okay, I did that when I was 17, or, this, that, or the other thing, or I have this fear, or I have this vulnerability, or this insecurity, or, whatever. But I'm possessed right now by this. And is this me now? Is this ex relationship me now? Is this thing I did before me now? Can I be me without this addiction, this drug, this relationship? And sometimes even with your community around you, even with everyone who knows you, who knows they can only know you the way they know you and can only support you to know you that way. And you got to learn who you are. And that's how they can hold space with you in ceremony because they've had those relationships themselves, that there's a sense that they know themselves of what it takes to be in it, to try to identify yourself, to try to identify what is you and what is that atmosphere of your relationships and experiences and fears and hopes and yesterdays and tomorrows, which may be a part of, but the gravity, that core, that singularity of how you know you. When there's turbulence, when real life, I mean, if heat goes from hot to cold, hot air rises, but if heat goes from hot to cold, our relational being isn't about one lifetime. I can't reason how that can be. Or maybe more to the point in this instance, if left only to reason, then folks struggle to make sense of how we stay in this together, alone, together for one lifetime. Because I think it only really makes sense. Our brains, our bodies, the heat that it takes to fire everything, the passion to keep going, to get through the really crappy parts of making mistakes, of feeling bad, of being afraid, of being addicted and trying to face all those that you love, that you've hurt. Hey, I have hurt you, I've let you down, and I'm possessed, and I need your help, but I'm still me, and I'm willing to do that work, but I can't do it without you. I mean, to have your peers around you who know you, but who know themselves relationally in the way that they can be those points to hold that space while you struggle with your addiction. In this instance, it was practical magic in a scene, a fictitious scene in a movie. But I also have watched family and friends. I've watched strangers. I've 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 been honed maybe to be sensitive, and then I'm recognized often positively or negatively by friends, family, by strangers for that sensitivity in a sense. Because my point, turbulence, relational, relationship, relation, reflexivity. I don't know another way to make it through except to acknowledge that parts of how my body feels, the tension and the pain and the instability and the lightness and the joy, the memories, the fears, the vulnerabilities. I mean, all of it real time. You know, that's another reason why I stopped the movie in that scene. I mean, you know, when you have parts of your body and parts of those parts of your body, and they feel like they're going through that kind of possession like that, like Nicole Kidman showed, writhing on the floor and you know, and you're needing in a sense, you know, your left shoulder, your right shoulder, your hips, your elbows, your you know, your knees, and then your spine and your heart and your liver and your guts and your brain, and then your ideas and your fears and your hopes and your dreams, and you know, that fire, that heat, you know, where does it all go? And so if it goes from hot to cold, then maybe there's something in that, in slowing it down, not stopping the turbulence, not extracting the pain or the suffering or the possession or the addiction, but working to try to stay oriented on who you are right in the middle of it, because we are ourselves as part, I believe, of being in the middle of it. And that doesn't ever stop. The movie might end, but we need those peers around us and those ceremonies daily. And I don't think that is a quote unquote reasonable infrastructure, but I think it is an infrastructure that Homo sapiens, that human beings have learned to survive and to respect and to build and to improve and to listen and to fail and to succeed and to learn and to listen and to fail and to like I don't know that it is made evident and successful in the span of what might be one or two or even three generations. The heat of the consciousness of the lessons learned for us to be born, to learn to walk, to survive for as long as we can, to share our lives and our stories, whether we have our own kids or we engage with the lives of anyone and everyone else, including bacteria, viruses, fungi, if we eat meat or if we don't eat meat, if we, I, I mean, trees and leaves, lettuce, bugs, bees, this relational identity of addictions or allergies or fears or hopes or disappointments, addictions, ceremony. And how do we allow ourselves to remember ourselves and how we have related with the sensation of being in water or the softness of the fur of an animal or the intrigue and memory we have of noticing something when we were 5 or 6 or 7 years old, or how we witnessed others who are 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7, or 84 and 85 and 86 and 87. The how others notice and learn and make sense and pay attention. And how do we have the chance to remember ourselves and how we learn and how we listen and how we make sense of how to feel? How do we know how to feel when we're scared, when we're lost, when we need our own help to know if we're in an addiction or if we're in a good relationship with donuts or with a lover? I mean, it can be incredibly complex, incredibly rich and dynamic. And so if the ceremony doesn't ever stop and we can't all just stand around each other with brooms trying to, purge the addiction and the fears and make everything perfect and it's all going to go away. And what is that? What is that? And then who are our peers? Who over our own lifetimes? Strangers, familiars, family, maybe not. Mentors, maybe it's the neighborhood cat that always would come around at just the right time, or who knows? But there's still an innocence in us, whatever our experience, whatever our age, whatever our disappointments. We are still innocent to this new experience now. And we may have failed others. We may feel possessed. We may have addictions. We may be so tired and in pain. There's just no more. And that may be true. And those around us holding space and ceremony for us to survive that, they can do what they can do, but it is up to each of us to make that decision. It isn't their responsibility. Are we present? Are we here? No matter what possession we might have of someone else or some fear or some hate or something that's just totally, I just have to do this. This is totally, is that really us? Or our successes, the pedestals that we sometimes feel we deserve? But I've done this. Everybody should recognize me for all these reasons. Are we able to be in that ceremony and be the focus and take responsibility then for allowing everyone around us, the whole of our relationships, our peers, those who exist themselves, to be there for us? And in ceremony, can we take responsibility for ourselves then? At the most critical moments of healing, are we ready and to have relationships, animals, humans, fungi, plants, whatever it might be, to have other relationships to support you, not to tell you, not to direct you, but to hear us, reflect with ourselves. Here's who I know myself to be. Here's where I am. Here's where I've been. Here's where I hope. Here's where I'm going. Here's what I'm working for. Who knows what those are except ourselves, and we don't always know. So sometimes we might feel possessed. We might we might feel drawn or pushed. And so to be able to really let those out and to say, hey, people closest to me, people looking out for me, hey, ceremony, here's the point. And it isn't going to stay like this, but right now, this is the point. Turbulence, 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 turbulence. Here's the point. Turbulence, turbulence, turbulence. Because sometimes for those that are looking out after us, they're in the middle of it themselves and they need their own peer group around them because they also are in the middle of it. And we don't want to take from them, but we also need. So how do we share ability and ceremony at the same time as when we need? We need those peers and we need that ceremony. But part of our need is to also be there to share it. And have others ever survived to experience this before? Are there others who understand something of what this is? Non-prescriptively, reflexively, what might surface for you? I didn't really expect to have the this little rant or reflection go in this direction, but that seems like it's a good enough time. It's enough. Happy birthday, Grunt. One love, everyone.